Welcome to the Good Karma Sportfishing Podcast. I'm your host, Captain Ryan Van Fleet.
And welcome to the Good Karma Success Coach Podcast. I'm your host, Melinda Van Fleet. Well, hey, Captain Ryan.
Hey.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Yay.
15 years.
I know we're actually going to have a little dinner celebration tonight, even though it's a couple days late, but that's our world.
Yeah, it's always busy.
Yep, we always move and groove with what we need to do, what makes the most sense for our businesses and for, ourselves and practicing self-care. So, yeah. So we thought today that we would talk about one of my favorite topics, which is distractions. And distractions in regards to time management, ROI, becoming your best self, being successful, all those things. And they kind of all go hand in hand. And I've talked about a lot of these concepts, let's say, in episode 129 of the Crush It in Sales podcast, and even last week on episode 180 of the Good Karma Success Coach podcast, from different angles and different aspects, because it's a huge topic. That's why it's so popular and so needed, right? So please feel free to go back and listen to those podcast episodes so you hear those point of view from me and those stories. But this podcast, I thought it would be fun to have Ryan on so he can share his point of view and experience for primarily his fishing audience. And then, there's a lot of crossover, which is why we've done this podcast together for so long. So I'm going to say, Ryan, take it away. Talk a little bit about distractions, what ones you've had in your life, in your past, maybe what you're working on now, and, what do you do to eliminate them so you can work towards being a more successful charter boat captain?
Yeah, I guess the biggest thing is, for me, one of the biggest distractions I would get are people telling me what I should do and what I shouldn't do.
Ooh, I love that.
And I get that quite often. I used to get that quite often, and I still do. I still get DMs from people, and they're like, well, why don't you do this, or why don't you do that, or this guy's catching this, and why aren't you doing this? And so in my younger days, that used to confuse me. So, but not anymore. I can tell you that. So as far as myself, I stay focused on what I'm doing personally and what I feel the most comfortable with as far as the fishing goes and making the most out of the time on the water. So,
oh my gosh, I'm dying because I'm going to call this mental distractions. And you and I have not talked about this podcast. Like if you know us, if you've been listening to us, we both don't script. I may take a couple notes or something, or if I have to Google something for a definition, but we don't script. And so I just told Ryan, we're going to talk about distractions and time management. And my brain was on the whole mental thing too, but we didn't talk about that. And that's the example you just gave. So rock on. We're on the same page. I love it. Yeah. I love it.
That's it. And I could really we could
talk forever.
Yeah, I could talk forever about this, but
But it's important. Important. We think in general terms of distractions of being like too much social media, right? Especially with what's going on this week with the Oscars. That is a huge distraction.
Huge.
But I love this topic of mental distractions even more because Ryan is so right. When you start to listen to other people and what their expectations are of you, it becomes distracting if it's not aligned, if they're not using your capabilities. Like Ryan, for example, as a charter boat captain to the best of his capabilities, trying to pigeonhole him into only looking for mahi or something like that, then Ryan's not living in his zone of genius. He's not living in his own energetic alignment with what has been given to him and maximizing those skills and those values.
Yes.
It's really an incredible way to understand that you may need to build confidence around that area so you can stand up for yourself and create boundaries.
Yep, that's exactly right. So I don't listen to what other people are doing, and I could really care less.
Yep. Who cares? One of my mottos.
I do not care what the other guy is doing. And when if somebody brings up somebody that has some really bad juju, it really does kind of bring the energy down and stuff. And then I have to get realigned with everything and what I'm doing. And it's hard to go out there and catch fish on a consistent basis. So I have to be mentally in the game. It's just like any athlete. You have to be mentally in the game. That's why some athletes suck the first half, and then they come back the second half, they're realigned. It's just how it works. So, and I'm just not a one fish guy. So that's it. I have to be in tune to make changes and adapt and stuff. So I have to be mentally focused. And the biggest thing is like when we redid the floor. So if anybody knows the history of the floor of the boat of the Good Karma.
And there is history.
And there is a lot of history. Now, many of you guys don't know this, but I was one of the deck.
The floor means the deck.
Yeah, and I was one of the very first ones in the Keys to own Sea Deck. And there's a whole big story behind that and how it got installed. And it was a process and one of the very first ones, okay? I no longer have Sea Deck, and there's a reason, but I'm not going to get into all that today. And
well, it didn't last.
It just didn't. It just didn't last in the hot Florida sun. It worked good for a while, and so we made a change, and we went with an all grip deck.
A couple of years ago,
yeah. And every year, you redo the deck. So this year we decided to take it on ourselves.
Yeah.
And everybody was trying to it's going to be too hard.
Oh, I see where you're going. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Going to be too hard. You're not going to be able to do it. The timing's going to be too off. How are you going to fit it in?
Mm-hmm. And it did mess with you a little bit.
It did, because I had a lot of naysayers. I had a lot. A lot of people come out like, you're never going to be able to do this on your own. Yeah, so
You did. You had moments where you were very overwhelmed.
I was overwhelmed.
Because other people were sharing their opinion, really. Just their opinion.
Their opinion.
And I kept saying, what did I say to you?
Yeah.
Just to focus.
Just to focus.
And study. Watch the videos.
Watch the videos. Follow the directions.
We're really lucky. We have a 1099 NEC. His name is Cruz.
Yep, and Cruz
is amazing.
Cruz is an amazing individual.
Very blessed to have him on our team.
And between myself and Cruz, and Cruz is very patient when it comes to this kind of stuff. And we knocked the floor out.
And it looks amazing.
And it is, I will never go back to a Sea Deck floor, because this floor, you get locked in. You don't go anywhere. It's extremely comfortable. And what my clients are saying, they're loving it. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe this floor. Mm-hmm. So, and I said, we did it on our own. If you want to learn how to do it, just let us know. Yeah. So, and yeah.
So you pushed through the distractions.
I pushed through the distraction because I was distracted. And it was I didn't want to.
And the paint's not cheap, everyone out there. Yeah. Just so I know that. Plus, we paid Cruz. So it's not like it's a free thing.
Yeah.
So it definitely was some work for Ryan to really understand. And we've talked about this before, or maybe I have on my podcast, where, you get, let's say, like nervous or hesitant about starting something new.
Yep.
And then once you do it, you're like, oh my gosh, that was easy. I did it. So, and we all have those moments. Not just you. I mean, we all have those moments. And then once you do it, then you go, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I took a deep breath. I spent some time studying. Mm-hmm. I got grounded that I could do it. We pray, we ask for help, and it ends up happening. It ends up happening easier and faster, and sometimes even more inexpensively than we think it's going to happen. And then you go, oh my gosh, I did it. I'm so glad I didn't listen to the people that were distracting.
Yep, that's it. And we're extremely proud of it. And
Cruz is very proud, and that is so fun too. We love that. That just makes our day.
When Cruz is proud of it, and that makes me feel really good. So because I trusted him with it.
Yeah, and you did. You trusted him. You checked up to make sure and be supportive, but he really ended up doing the execution with all the tape, all the pieces that need to get taped.
Yeah, I gave him ample amount of time to do it,
and we let him alone. We trusted, and that's a huge thing too. So if you're a leader and you're not trusting your team to handle things, but you're always like, that creates a distraction. That creates an energetic distraction.
It does.
that you have to trust. Like you have to give direction and be supportive and give tips or ideas or share. But at the end of the day, you also have to let go and trust and allow that they're doing what they need to do. And
Right.
and then it's also a mature adult that also speaks up and says, hey, I need some help. So,
Yeah.
So we trusted that Cruz, if he needed help, he would speak up.
Yep.
And ask for help, which he did.
Which he did. He says, yeah, I need this. And that's one thing I always...
Supplies.
You need supplies.
You need different supplies than we had bought.
Yeah. As far as a leadership standpoint, it's never a good thing to micromanage somebody. Never.
It
a good thing.
It doesn't energetically work.
It never works. And if you're in a small business and that's the way you manage people, you're going to go through them like water. I was just lucky enough to have that kind of... lucky enough to have those type of skills. So
plus, too, I have to add this caveat because I've been a leader so many times in my career, and so have you. Is like I don't want people on my team that I have to micromanage.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to have to micromanage somebody.
I don't have time for that. I need to be thinking big picture and strategy. So being like, oh my gosh, I've got to micromanage this person, that's not good as a leader either.
Yeah, and it comes down to my clients too. And it's like I trust them with my rods and my reels. I give them the training that they need to do. And everybody's like, well, you give them too much. I have a lot of guys that comment that I give my clients stuff that's way too good to use. It's like, oh, you give your client that to use? It's like, yeah, I do. I train them how to use it. I tell them what not to do. I tell them where to put the rod. If they put it in there wrong, I have to remind them that this is the way it goes. And so I have to have some level of trust.
So you give them top quality tools. I just want to make sure it's clear for people that don't understand the fishing world. Like our reels are the best on the market. Like Ryan,
the absolute best on the market.
The handles and gets high quality handles. Our rods are the best.
Yep, line.
So line is the best for sure. Oh my gosh, we definitely know captains don't spend money on line, and that definitely is a big piece of the puzzle. It's not the only thing, but it's a piece of it.
And you get the best.
You get the best. You get the best when you fish with Ryan, and Ryan trusts that his clients will execute. Yep,
I do. I trust them with it, and they love the reel and the rods. They love to touch them, and I think that's awesome. And that's what I want. That's what it's supposed to be about, for people to have a good time and reel in their own fish and have good stuff to work with. So they have the right tools to do the job.
Right.
So, and what that comes down to is that I'm not distracted by things. I know that I've got the best for them, and stuff happens once in a while. It's just how it goes. And I've learned to accept that to a certain point. And if I have my moments. So, but I have to be, that's another one when it comes down to distractions, is I was distracted by that. Well, maybe I shouldn't let these people reel in fish.
It gets in your head.
It gets in your head. Well, maybe I shouldn't be, maybe I should be doing it for them. Maybe I should be doing this or have a mate. And no, I do my own thing. I'm confident in it. Do my own styles of fishing. I don't care what the other guy's doing.
And let's circle back one further note on this whole thought, just to give a bigger meaning here. And why do you do that? Like, what's your why? Like, what would you say is your purpose in having this business model? Because it is a business model, to be really clear to
what it really
not every fishing charter is run like
what it really comes down to is that I know personally that when a client hooks his own fish and brings it in, it's satisfaction.
Aw, that's really cool
for them.
Yep,
it does. And sometimes I have to assist if things are going wrong. If the fish is doing something different. A really large fish, but I rarely do. We run it like we would run a sport fishing, like with a mate. I train them. I tell them what to do, and the people, and how I do it. I can do it so effective that before the end of the day, they're like as good as a beginning mate. So because it's just it's of how I train them. So I have different ways I do it.
Yep.
And I won't share how I do it because there is a method.
It's a method to your crazy Yoda madness.
There's a crazy method, and I am a very good teacher. Very good.
Who's Yoda?
and it's taken a long time to get there, but I have my ways.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Wow. Well, I really appreciate you sharing all of this, Captain Ryan. Thank you so much. It's very enlightening, even for me. I love hearing you say these things organically and without, again, as I mentioned in the beginning, like we didn't plan this podcast except for just putting a date on the calendar and a title. Yep. There you go.
Yeah, don't get distracted. If you got something you want to do it. You know, as the old saying goes, if you break it, oh well, you can always buy another one.
Yeah, and go back. I mean, you're saying you go back to your why and your purpose. Like why did we redo the floor? Because we struggled with CDEC, and we were like, we have to figure this out so we can just manage it and be able to take care of it when we need to take care of it and have a better floor. And then also too, we ended up. Crews made money from that, which is
you're helping somebody else out
too. Like it helped him pay his rent.
It's kind of like in this day and age, if I can do I do what I can. It's like everybody needs a hand during right now.
Yeah.
So that's it. So that's just the way I am.
Yep.
So.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. Thank you, everyone, for listening. If you feel like connecting with me, I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And my email is melinda@melindavanfleet.com. And Ryan, how should everyone get hold of you?
You can email me at goodkarmaryan@gmail.com if you're looking to book a charter. Also, too, I have available courses at goodkarmafishingtackle.com. And you can connect with me to see what I'm catching through Instagram at it's Good Karma Sportfishing _FL _keys. But check out my website from time to time for new updated pricing and charters
and blogs.
And blogs. Yeah, I have a really good. I'm building That's another thing. I'm building a knowledge center through a blog site that you can use to go and refer if you're looking for lure, like what lure colors. And my last one, I talked about solar lunar. I gave you a puzzle that you can put together really quickly to get dialed in on the bite. So,
And also, to the solar lunar information goes back to our app.
Yep, to the app.
Good Karma Sportfishing app. So make sure you have the app on your phone. Yep. Google Play and Apple.
Yep, it's a free tool. I put it out there for Good Karma. So,
awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thanks, everyone, for listening.
Thank you guys for tuning in. And remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good.